Hey guys, Craig here with Integrated Physical Therapy. Hope you're all hanging in okay. Today we're going to talk about hip openers. We're going to talk about how the hip flexors and the hip extensors work together in a balance to create not only mobility but stability of the pelvis. And then there's the argument out there, does mobility plus stability equal movement? We'll have a conversation about that as we learn a few of these new exercises. You might be finding yourself sitting a lot more right now, maybe on the couch working in that Zoom conference, and you're slumped back and everything's kind of rounded out like a banana. Today we're going to talk about how to get a little bit taller in that, how to really work the extensions through that. We're going to open up our hips by engaging our glutes. I'm going to be borrowing a little bit of work from Ann Tierney and Steve Sierra over at Kihara Fitness and the Ready State, as well as A Secret of Athleticism. They got some really great information out there. So we're really going to be sharing some information that's already out there. Maybe you haven't seen it. We're just going to coalesce it and bring it all together for you. Today's going to be about hip openers and hip stability. So here's our first exercise that we can do, and I've kind of set it up here so it's somewhat like a home desk environment. We've got our desk here and our desk chair over here. Now I would encourage these to be done on a chair that does not have wheels. Just a stationary chair would be great. On the floor here I have an AirX pad, just something that I can use to give my knee a little bit of cushion. You can use a pillow, a buckwheat pillow would be great. Any of those kinds of things would work for you. So the first idea is going to be a half kneel hip opener. So what we'll do is, coming into a half kneel, what we want to make sure we do is the right foot in this case lines up with the hip, as well as the left leg. We don't want to see a lot of chest extension. We want to keep our chest nice and engaged, our abdominals engaged here, and we want to make sure that we squeeze our glute. You can give yourself a little butt tap there and make sure that you're there. And as we slightly move in the forward direction, we want to make sure that we maintain our glute. If we're unable to maintain that glute, we've gone too far. And this is the combination between the muscles that flex our hip or bend our hip upward or extend our hip. We got to make sure that we have engagement here in order to open up here in the front. Now, to take that challenge just a little bit further, we'll get a lot deeper into the opening on the front of the hip flexors and the quads, etc. If you're unable to maintain the glute squeeze in that first position, you do not do the second one. The second one is, if you can maintain that glute squeeze all the way through that extension moment, then you can add in the second. So what we'll do, again, we have the AirX pad on the floor, and I've got that stationary desk chair behind me. I'm going to hook my foot onto the chair as I kneel down onto that AirX pad. And just by lifting my foot that much higher, I've lengthened my anterior chain. It's going to make it a lot harder for me to engage that glute, but if I can still do that while maintaining my rib cage down, I'm in a good position here. I'm going to bring it forward. I'm going to engage my foot into the chair and slowly come back. This is the eccentric component, where the muscle is contracting and elongating at the same time. I'm going to repeat this 5 to 7 times on each side, keeping my rib cage down, making sure that my glute stays engaged throughout this whole process. Give this one a shot. So the last exercise is going to be a hip opener in standing. Makes it a little bit more functional in its motion. This exercise comes from the pros over of Secret of Athleticism. I almost blanked on the name, Secret of Athleticism. And it's a combination of both. So we're going to get our glutes to contract to allow our hips to open. On our opposite leg, we're going to come up on our toes. And coming up on our toes is going to lock our pelvis into place, giving us the pelvic stability that we're looking for. It's a challenge, so let's give it a shot and see what it looks like. So again, I'm going to take that left leg, I'm going to place it on the stationary chair. Using my desk, I'm going to put myself in that right position. I do not want to see the hip flare out. I want to make sure that my hips are square in this position here, and I want to make sure that I can get my glute to squeeze in this position. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down, allowing my glute to squeeze, my anterior chain to flex, and I'm going to come up on my toes on the right. This is quite a challenge. We want to hold it, maybe 3, 4, 5 breaths. Just sink down into that, making it a nice stable environment. Squeeze that glute while opening up this anterior chain.